words is out.
Yeah, yes, Lord.
The thing is not coming out.
Okay. When you go down, Chandan is nice. Some I think that's all they put.
So this is a long words. Vidita anuragam apaura prakiti janapado rajanabi atmajam samaya setu rakshayam abhikshya brahmana nesu panidaya saha merudevya vishalayam prasana nipunena pasha samadhi yogena nara narayanakyam bhagavantam vasudevam upasinaha kalena dan mahimanam avappa. Vidita, known very well. Anuragam, popularity. Apaura prakriti, among all the citizens and government officers. Janapadaha, desiring to serve the people in general. Raja, the king. Nabihi, Nabi, Atmajam, his son. Samaya, Setu Rakshayam, to protect the people strictly according to Vedic principles of religious life. Abhishikya, enthroning Brahmana Neshu, to the learned Brahmanas. Upanindaya, trusting. Saha, with Meru Devya in his wife. Meru Devi. Vishalayam in Bhatrika Ashram. Prasana Nipunena, performed with great satisfaction and expertise. Tapasha, by austerities and penances. Samadhi Yogena, by full samadhi. Nara Narayana Kyam, named Nara Narayana. Bhagavantam, the Supreme Personality of God. Vasudevam, Krishna. Upasinaha, worshipping. Kalena, in due course of time. Tat Mahimanam, is glorious abode, the spiritual world. Vaikuntha, Abhapa, achieved. Translation: King Nabi understood that his son Rishabhadev was very popular among the citizens and among government officers and ministers. Understanding the popularity of his son Maharaj Nabi, enthroned him as the emperor of the world to give protection to the general populace in terms of Vedic religious system. To do this, he entrusted him into the hands of learned Brahmanas who would guide him in administrating the government. Then Maharaj Nabi and his wife Meru Devi went to Bhadrika Ashram in the Himalayan mountains, where the king engaged himself very expertly in austerities and penances with great jubilation. In full samadhi, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nara Narayana, who is Krishna in his plenary expansion. By doing so, in course of time, Maharaj Nabi was elevated to the spiritual world known as Vaikuntha. I'm not asking you to read because it's too long. Support by divine grace, Jai Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When Maharaj Nabi saw that his son Rishabdev was popular with general populace as a governmental servant, he chose to install him on the imperial throne. In addition, he wanted to entrust his son into the hands of learned Brahmanas. This means that a monarch was supposed to govern strictly according to Vedic principles under the guidance of learned Brahmanas, who could advise him according to the standard Vedic scriptures like Manusmriti and similar shastras. It is the duty of the king to rule the citizens according to the Vedic principles. According to Vedic principles, society is divided into four categories: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. Chatur Varnyam Mayas Krishnam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. The dividing the society in this way, it is king's duty to see that everyone executes Vedic principles according to his caste. A Brahmana must perform the duty of a Brahmana without cheating the public. It is not that one attains the name of a Brahmana without the qualification. It is the king's duty to see that everyone engaged in his occupational duty according to Vedic principles. In addition, retirement at the end of life is compulsory. Maharaj Nabi, although still a king, retired from family life and went with his wife to a place called Hare in the Himalayas, where the deity of Naranarayan is worshipped. The word Prasanna Nipunena Tapasha indicated the king accepted all kinds of austerity very expertly and jubilantly. He did not at all mind living his comfortable life at home. Although he was the emperor, despite undergoing severe austerities and penances, he felt very pleased at Hare Kṛṣṇa, and he did everything there expertly. In this way, being fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, Samadhi Yoga, always thinking of Krishna, Vasudev Maharaj Nabi attained success at the end of his life and was promoted to the spiritual world like Vaikuntha Loka. This is the way of Vedic life. One must stop the process of repeated birth and death and return home back to God. In the word Tan Mahimanam Avappa is significant in this regard. Srila Sridhar Goswami, Sridhar Swami says that Mahima means liberation in this life. We should act in such a way in this life that after giving up the body, we will become liberated from the bondage of repeated birth and death. This is called Jivan Mukta. Srila Veera Raghava Acharya stated in the Chandogya Upanishad there are 8 symptoms of a Jivan Mukta. A person who is already liberated even when living in his body. The first symptom of one so liberated is that he is free from all sinful activities. Apahata Papa. As long as one is under the clutches of Maya and the material energy, one has to engage in sinful activities. One has to engage in sinful activities. Bhagavad Gita describes such people as duskritinaha, which indicates that they are always engaged in sinful activities. One who is liberated in this life does not commit any sinful activities. First symptom of a liberated person. Sinful activities involve illicit sex, meat-eating, intoxication, and gambling. Another symptom of a liberated person is vijara, which indicate that he is not subject to the miseries of old age. Another symptom is vimrityu. A liberated person prepares himself in such a way that he does not take on any more material bodies which are destined to die. In other words, he does not fall down again to repeated birth and death. Another symptom is vishoka, which indicates that he is callous to material distress and happiness. Another is vijigasa. Is that right? Vijigasa. which indicates that he is no longer desires material enjoyment. Another symptom is apipata, which means that he has no desire other than to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, his dear most pursuable Lord. A further symptom is satyakam, which indicates that all his desires are directed to the Supreme Lord Krishna. He does not want anything else. He is satya sankalpa. Whatever he desires is fulfilled by the grace of Krishna. First of all, he does not desire anything for his material benefit, and secondly, if he desires anything at all, he simply desires to serve the Supreme Lord. That desire is fulfilled by the Lord's grace. This is called Satya Sankalpa. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti points out that the word Mahima means returning to the spiritual world, back home, back to Vaikuntha. Sri Sukadev said that the word Mahima means that the devotee attains the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Sat Dharma, or the same quality. Just as Krishna is never born and never dies, the devotee who returns to Godhead never dies and never takes birth within the material world. Yeah. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gnanam-Yena Shalakaya Chakshara-Militanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Vitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karaman Vidati Swapanam Vigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Paragamalam Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagajatam Svagana Raghunatham Vitam Samsari Shadvitam Shavadutam Varajanam Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Param Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopikatam Taratam Kanamostute Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishavam Sutta Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patilanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhusale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatari Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gauravanda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare So thank you very much for coming to joining us in this Srimad Bhagavatam class on Sunday. So we are continuing reading 5th canto, 4th chapter, text 5. So King Nabi, he wanted to hand over to his son. So he just did not hand over to him, although he was an incarnation of God. Did you eat anything? They broke the fast? The way you were standing, I thought you didn't break fast. So then if you have broken your fast, there's no reason for you to sit upright. Huh? So you can see here that although Rishabdev was a son that he prayed for, yes, but still, in order to hand over his responsibility, he wanted to make sure that he was what? Popular among the citizens. Right? and among the government officers and the ministers. That was his first criteria. He did not just, what is the word? Nepotism, is it? Yeah? Is that the word? That means he did not just give the power to his son just blindly. Yes? I think the word nepotism means that, right? Is that right? So you see how he was checking out to see that his son was very much liked by the citizen and popular. And again, now although he has appointed his son to become, he wanted to hand over, but he just didn't like hand over to him to have a free will, just like King Vena. When the country was without king, there was very big problem. What do you call it? Anarchy, right? Is that the word? Anarchy? That means there's no control, no leader. So at that time, the mother insisted that to help to rule the country, then King, what is his name? Vena, the father of Prithu Maharaj. He was appointed, but he was not popular. He was not. He was not popular. And although he was king, he did not take direction from you see here, the emperor of the world to give protection to the general population. In terms of Vedic religious system, to do this, he entrusted him to the hands of learned Brahmins. Whereas King Vena, he rejected. Even Hiranyakashipu, he also rejected. They didn't want to go under. They say, in fact, Vena says, you Brahmana, you don't know, you are childish. You should worship me as God because I am Naradeva. You know? You understand? So you see how it is so important. The country must be governed according to Vedic principles. It's not that simply you just elect somebody and he does anything he likes. No, that doesn't work like that. Why the Brahmanas are so important? Learned Brahmanas are not some half-Sikh Brahmanas. This here. Who would guide him in administrating the government? What happened? Power went out. Yeah? Come back again. So you see, the king, although he was king, he had to be guided by the Brahmanas. Why the Brahmanas, learned Brahmanas? Because they are thoroughly well versed in the Shastra. The word Shastra got two meanings. One Shastra means the Vedic knowledge. The other Shastra means what? Discipline. That's also Shastra, right? Another two things. So you see here, the same point has also been this is spoken by the Lord. O king, one who is advanced in intelligence and eager to perform welfare activities for others is considered best among human beings. An advanced human being is never malicious to others. Those with advanced intelligence are always conscious that this material body is different from the soul. If the Lord is speaking, give me a minute, I just. So here again the Lord spoke to Prithu Maharaj. He said, Lord Vishnu continued, my dear King Prithu, if you continue to protect the citizens according to the instruction of the learned Brahmana authorities, as they are received by the disciplic succession by hearing from master to disciple, and you follow this religious principle laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. And very soon you will be able to see such already liberated personalities as the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumar. So you see again here how the Lord is saying the same thing. So how important it is to take direction. You see? There is the point, you see. If you continue to protect the citizens according to the instruction of the learned Brahmana authorities, this is the point here. And he say how? As they have received by disciplic succession, by hearing from master to disciple. And if you follow the religious principle laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction. This is another point. Without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction. That means to run a country, it is not simply you get voted and then you implement all your crazy rules and regulations. No. You understand? You have to run the country according to rules and regulations as per Sadhu Shastra Guru. Okay, so Nabi made sure that his son did all these things. Okay. So why the Brahmanas are so important? Huh? You see here, I'm going to again take you to Prithu Maharaj, who is speaking like this. The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are personally glorified by the characteristics of powers of tolerance, penance, knowledge, and education. By dint of all these spiritual assets, Vaishnavas are more powerful than royalty. It is therefore advised that the princely order not exhibit its material prowess before these two communities and should avoid offending them. How the Brahmanical and Vaishnava community are higher than the kingly royalty. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ancient eternal Godhead who is foremost among all great personalities, obtained the opulence of his staunch reputation which purifies the entire universe by worshipping the lotus feet of those Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. This point is also explained in the 11:14. Yeah? Yes? I purify the three worlds by the dust of the Brahman. This is explained by the Lord. Yes? Same thing is repeating here. See how very powerful this personality. Of course, in Kali Yuga, they are very unfortunate, they have become very degraded. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is everlastingly independent and who exists in everyone's heart, is very pleased with those who follow in his footsteps and engage without reservation in the service of the descendants of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. For he is always dear to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and they are always dear to him. Right? The same point has been also said by the Lord himself, right? I know no one but my devotee, and my devotee no one but me, correct? By regular service to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, one can clear the dirt from his heart and thus enjoy supreme peace and liberation from material attachment and be satisfied. In this world, there is no fruitive activities superior to serving the Brahmana class, for this can bring pleasure to the demigod for whom the many sacrifices are recommended. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead Ananta eats through the fire sacrifice offered in the names of the different demigods, he does not take as much pleasure in eating through fire as he does in accepting offering through the mouth of learned sages and devotees, for then he does not leave the association of devotees. See, yeah. See how the Lord is so much happy by being eating through the mouth of the Brahman. In Brahminical culture, Brahmana's tranquil position is eternally maintained because the injunctions of the Vedas are accepted with faith, austerity, scriptural conclusion, full sense and mind control, and meditation. And in this way, the real goal of life is illumined, just as one's face is fully decorated in a clear mirror. So these verses show how important it is uh, to take directions from the devotees. Hmm? O respectful personalities present here, I beg the blessings of all of you that I may perpetually carry on my crown the dance of the lotus feet of such Brahmanas and Vaishnavas until the end of my life. He who can carry such dust on his head is very soon relieved of all reactions which arise from sinful life, and eventually he develops all good and desirable qualities. See? How important it is to serve the devotees. See, he says, I want to do. I think I gave a class on Friday, right? Whoever acquires the Brahminical qualification, whose only wealth is good behavior, who is grateful and who takes shelter of experienced person, gets all the opulence of the world. I therefore wish that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his associates be pleased with the Brahmin class, with the cows, and with me. So you see, of course, he answers prayer like that. So you see how the wealth of the devotee is this, to be associated with the devotees, to protect the cows, and to safeguard the kingly order. So this is why the king insisted that the Brahminical youth take direction from the Brahmanas. Whereas King Vena, Hiranyakashipu, they rejected that. As a result, they created chaos. Yes or not? The whole thing was destructive. So Nabi Maharaj made sure that Rishabdev, of course, if you go and read the prayers in the fifth canto, fifth chapter, Rishabdev also says the same thing. You know, how the Brahmanas are very important. You know, you will come to that. So by worshipping the Brahmanas, then he can rule the country. Otherwise, it's not possible to rule the country. The country become messed up. Like today, you can see in Kali Yuga, everything has gone messed up. Yes, right or not? Banks are closing, inflations are what? Scoring and rising, yes. And people are suffering, cannot have proper food, meal, too much rain, no rain, drought. What is that word? The three things they will suffer in Kali Yuga. Anavristi, what is that word? 12, I think it's 12:2 or 12:1. There will be no rain. Then they will have no food. And then there will be so much taxes they cannot handle. Right? What is that?
12, 3, 39, 40.
12?
3,
12, 3?
39, 40.
No, the verse. Here. No, not this verse. Not this verse. You know. Anavristi. Huh? That?
Fourth line.
Hmm?
Fourth line. Fourth line.
Yeah. In the age of Kali, people's mind will always be agitated. They will become emaciated by famine and taxation, my dear king, and will always be disturbed by fear of drought. They will lack adequate clothing, food, and drink, and will be unable to properly rest, have sex, or bathe themselves. And will have no ornament to decorate their body. In fact, the people of Kali Yuga will gradually come to appear like ghostly, haunted creatures. Uh, Fashion, they don't want to wear jewelry all anymore, all plastic. Right? Right? Very, see how it's very, what we say, detailedly described the condition. And they all will look like ghostly, haunted creatures. They say, is there something like ghosts? All are ghosts. Yeah? So you see how the conditions are going to be very degrading if the Brahminical order is not maintained. Practically, the Brahmin in Kali Yuga, the Brahmins are all what? It's a verse, no? Quoted. Varaha Purana. Demons will take birth in Brahminical family and they will destroy the culture. You know, Shringi was the first one. They are all Brahmins, all no tejas, ojas, nothing. They're simply creating a disturbance, you know. They all want recognition as Brahmin, but they don't have the qualification. So that kind of Brahminical order is not what Rishabdev Nabi Maharaj was referring to. He was referring to a learned Brahminical class who were guided by Shastra and disciplic chain also, yeah, Parampara. It's not just they simply, born Brahmin, no. It never, I don't think it mentioned any born Brahmin inside there. Yeah?
That 16.301. Second
What's that?
16.301.
16 dot. What? 16 dot?
301.
301. Oh, this is CB. This is the verse? Rakshasa kalim asritya jayante brahma yonishu utpana brahmana kule badante sotriyan karshan. Yeah? Varaha Purana. This verse was spoken by Lord Shiva. In Kali Yuga, demons will take birth in the families of Brahmanas to harass those rare persons who are conversant with Vedic way of life. Can you imagine? Our greatest opponent are these guys. In fact, these Brahmanas are the one who complain to Kazi about Kirtan. Yes? Yes or not? Yeah? Explain here. So you see how this whole Kali Yuga is messed up. Why we have to know this? Because it's so important. If Vedic culture is not maintained, the country is screwed. You understand? Everything is messed up like now. Everything is toxical. Mess. Yes? Right? And among this, you can see Nabi, although his son was born there, God, but he left and he went to Bhatrikash. So you see, among the, see, well, the point is this, what is that verse? 422 words? That among the four things, liberation is more important. 422, 32 or 3 or 4. Divine, no? Out of the four principles, namely religion, economic development, and sense gratification, liberation has to be taken very seriously. The other three are subject to destruction by the stringent laws of nature, death. So you see how Nabi Maharaj, although he had his son at home who is God, he left. Huh? Why? Because liberation is very, very important. Hmm? Other things are not so important because their body will be finished with this. But liberation is prime important. Very important. Because the body is impermanent. But the soul have to be liberated from the bodily entanglement. Otherwise, you keep taking bodies after bodies after bodies. It's very painful. That's why the human life, ataha, Brahma Jityasa. Now that you got this human body, now you must inquire about Brahman so that you can get liberated. Only person who can give liberation is who? Huh? Only Krishna can. Mukti pradataha. Who? Vishnu naeva samsaya. Only Krishna, Vishnu can give you liberation. Nobody else. Right? So here today we are discussing liberation, and liberation is so important. There are 8 symptoms of liberation. We discussed this now, correct? Right? Huh? So we can go back to that again. So this Veera Raghava Acharya said this from Chandogya Upanishad.
I just searched it is on the Sundar Upanishad 8 or 7 or 1.
Was it?
This 8 symptoms of Jiva Mukta. I just searched in Sundar Upanishad 8 or 7 or 1.
Can I get here? So okay, tell me this is authorized, no?
Because every time people complain that we are going to make up also.
Okay, we'll go through 8 of this. Jivan Mukta. 8 symptoms of a Jivan Mukta, a person who is already liberated even when living in his body. The first symptom is of one soul liberated that is free from all sinful activities. Apahata Papa. So this is the number one symptom. Number one symptom is Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. That means what? To become a Brahma Bhuta means liberated person. And the first qualification is that he must not be committing sinful activities. If he is committing sinful activities, he is not a Jivan Mukta. Correct? As long as one is under the clutches of Maya in the material energy, one has to engage in sinful activities. Another important point. That's why I see when you are here, anybody who is not a devotee, then he will do sinful activities. Correct? Yes or no? It's also said in the Bhagavad Gita. You know where? 316. That if you don't follow the Shastra, then you will be bewildered. And then what? Agaha, what is that?
Indriya,
Agayo Indraya. You will do sinful activities. Because you get bewildered. Because you don't know what to do, what not to do. You'll be bewildered. You know that word, right? I showed many times. Huh? Right? So you see how, if you are not Krishna conscious, then you cannot. Huh? The next thing, what is that? If a person is not, it is sinful, then he is called duskritina, and which indicates that they always engage in sinful activities. The Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 kinds of sinful duskritina. What is that? One? Huh? So one by one. What first one? Nama duskritino muda, a fool. Huh? A fool, number 1. Number 2, the one who is lowest of mankind. Nara adhama. Huh? Nara uttama and Nara adhama. Next one, take the verse out, 7:16. See now, 7:15. See now, look now, come on. I have to show you everything on the board. I will finish this at tomorrow 10 o'clock. Hello. 7:15. What is that? Naradama. And then Maya. Maya Apakrita. Nara. The one who thinks he is one who is completely under the influence of Maya. And the last one, Asura. Demonic. Who is a demon? How you become demonic? Practice growing your teeth. How you become a demon? Tell me. Grow the ears, you know. How? Tell me how. And try to go transplant one tail with a fork. Have you seen enough? The demon, they have one tail with a fork. So how you become a demon? Tell me. How? Prabhu? Whoever against the law? How you become against the law? How you become against the law? Repeating the same thing, no? How you become demonic? Hello? You don't follow Vedas. One who don't follow Vedic principle. Actually, how you become demon is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. Anyone who goes into the mode of passion and ignorance, he is classified as demon. You understand? If anyone who gets into the mode of passion, he will develop demonic qualities. That's very dangerous. That's why you cannot go into the mode of passion and ignorance. So when you develop demonic qualities, then what? What will happen? Then you become like this. This is what will happen if you go into that direction. When consciousness is fixed on the material body, home, and other similar objects of sense gratification, one spends one life chasing after the material object with the help of the senses. Consciousness is powerfully affected by the mode of passion, become dedicated to impermanent things, and in this way, irreligion, ignorance, attachment, and wretchedness arise. Correct? You understand? That's why Krishna says your big enemy is who? Who's your biggest enemy? Kama esa Raj, Krodha esa Rajaguna, Samudbhava. What is that? Mahasano Mahapapam Vidiyena Vairinam. This is the greatest danger. Understand? Passionate life is demonic life. So you develop all this kind of qualities and you become eventually what? averse to God consciousness. Correct? So this is why the mode of passion is so dangerous. Eh? Yes? Asura Bhava, right? Sinful life involves illicit sex, meditating, intoxicating, gambling. Another symptom of liberated person is vijara, which indicates that it is not subject to the miseries of old age. Right? That means is is not having what stroke, like me, heart attack. What else? Huh? Diabetes. Huh? So these are all symptoms of vijara. Another symptom is vimrityu. A liberated person prepares himself in such a way that he does not take on any more material bodies which are destined to die. Yeah? Right enough. That means what? He's preparing himself for huh? not taking birth again. In other words, he does not fall down again to repeated birth and death. Another symptom is vishoka, which indicates that it's callous to material distress and happiness. Another is vijikta, vijitgatsa, which indicates that no longer desires material enjoyment. Another symptom is apipata, which means he has no desire other than to engage in devotional service of Krishna. So among the eight symptoms, now here, this is the most important, which means that he has no desire other than to engage in devotional service of Krishna. Yeah? You understand this? The other things are, even the Mayavadis also, aspire for that. But this line here, this one, apipata, which means another one is satyakama, and the last one is satya sankalpa. So these three things are pertaining to devotees. Only devotees can come in this platform. Satya, Abhipata means desire to serve Krishna. Satya Kama means all his desires directed to the Supreme Truth Krishna. And Satya Sankalpa means whatever he desires is fulfilled by the grace of Krishna. Right? So these three things are only present in the devotees. That's why in the what is that verse? In the CC it says here, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says here, what is that? 18 what? 54, is it? Brahmabhuta. Yeah. See here, you see this verse. Brahmabhuta prasnatmana suchite na kanchite samaha sarva bhuteshu. Now you see this last line. Mad bhaktim labate param. That means this Brahmabhuta platform is the liberated platform. But it's not complete. It is not. Until you come to this Mad bhaktim labate param. See? So there is a difference. See? Until you become Krishna conscious, then your liberation is also very incomplete. To explain that, we can go here. You see here this verse. This verse here. Because of his transcendental bliss, incessant tears flowed from his eyes. His heart melted and there was shivering and standing of the hairs all over his body. Thus transformed in a trance of devotional service, Dhruva Maharaj completely forgot his bodily existence and thus he immediately became liberated from material bondage. This is explaining about Dhruva's position. Due to the constant engagement in devotional service, hearing and chanting, remembering, worshipping the deity, etc., as prescribed the 9 varieties Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. No? There are different symptoms which appear in the body of a devotee. This eight bodily transformation, which indicate that devotee already liberated within himself, is called Asta Sattvika Vikar. So, in other words, the devotee is going through is a little different. Understand? Whereas liberated position is we got all these eight things, but the real for a devotee, the liberation it transforms into what? Love of God, which is much, much higher. That's why Mad Bhakti Labhate Param. You understand? So devotee's position is different. When a devotee completely forgets his bodily existence, he should be understood to be liberated. He is no longer engaged in the body. The example is given when a coconut becomes completely dry. The coconut pulp within the coconut shell separates from the bondage of the shell and outer covering. Have you seen that? Have you noticed? You take a coconut which is dry and you shake. You can see it is not touching it, right? So by moving the dry coconut, one can hear the pulp within is no longer attached to the shell or to the covering. Similarly, when one is fully absorbed in devotional service, he is completely disconnected from the two material coverings, the subtle and gross bodies. Dhruva Maharaj actually attained this stage of life by constantly discharging devotional service. He has already been described as Mahabhagavata form. Unless one becomes the Mahabhagavata or first class pure devotee, these symptoms are not visible. Right? So a Mahabhagavata, liberation is already included inside. You understand? It's not that like the Mayavads and all. They are trying to what? Become liberated. For them, oh, I'm liberated means I'm. That's why in that popular verse 10:232, right? Brahma is saying what? What is that? Huh? Beginning line? Huh? Huh? Vimukta manina. Those who think that they are liberated, Vimukta manina, they are Vishuddha buddhi. They are contaminated consciousness. So this liberation is not complete for the devotees. You understand? Because it is a contaminated consciousness. See how? Here, symptoms of the liberation is explained, but until you become Krishna conscious, it's still considered as contaminated consciousness. You understand? That's why devotees, they don't, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pray, Nadanam, Najanam, Na Sundarim, Kavitam, Vajakadesa, Gamai, Maham, Janmani Suri, Bhavatam. We don't want liberation. Devotees are not putting stress on liberation. No. They are putting stress on love for Krishna. See, the Lord Chaitanya exhibited all these symptoms. Haridas Thakur also exhibited them. There are many pure devotees who manifest such bodily symptoms. They are not to be imitated. So, but when one is actually advanced, these symptoms are exhibited. At that time, it is to be understood a devotee is materially free. Of course, from the beginning of devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens. Just as the coconut taken from the tree immediately begins to dry. It simply takes some time for the shell and pulp to separate from one another. See, that's why it's now the word Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Immediately once you follow spiritual master, you go above the mode. The moment you go, that other words, that that verse 14:26. Mamcha vyapacharena bhakti yogena sevate sadhuna samati taitan Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. You understand, right? You want me to show? I'm showing. So you see, the moment you take up devotional service, you go above the modes and automatically you're already in the liberated platform. You understand? Liberation is already there, included already, because you are devotional. So here again the same point is explained. It simply takes some time for the shell and pulp to separate from one another. An important word in this verse is mukta lingaha. Mukta means liberated and linga means the subtle body. When a man dies, he quits the body, gross body, but the subtle body of mind, intelligence, ego carries into a new body. While existing the same present body, the same subtle body carries him from one stage of life to another. For example, from childhood to boyhood, by mental development. The mental condition of a baby is different from that of a boy. The mental condition of a boy is different from that of a young man, and the mental condition of a young man is different from that of an old man. So at that, the process of changing bodies takes place due to the subtle body, the mind, intelligence, and ego carry the soul from one gross body to another. This is called transmigration of the soul. But there's another stage. When one becomes liberated even from the subtle body, at that time the living entity is competent and fully prepared to be transferred to the transcendental or spiritual world. The description of the bodily symptoms of Sri Dhruva Maharaj makes it apparent that he became perfectly fit to be transferred to the spiritual world. One can experience the distinction between the subtle and gross bodies even daily in dream. One gross body is lying on the bed while the subtle body carries the soul, the living entity, to another atmosphere. But because the gross body has to be continued, the subtle body comes back and settles in the present gross body. Therefore, one has to become free from the subtle body also. This freedom is known as Mukta Linga. You understand? And this is automatically done by the devotee. Say Dhruva Maharaj, he automatically attained this stage. How? Simply he chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So of course that is Satyuga mantra, but Kali Yuga, if this is a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the moment you chant Hare Krishna, that's it. Everything is complete. You don't have to worry, you go, hey Prabhu, my subtle body is coming out now. you don't even have to talk about it. Because it is all included. You understand? So therefore, liberation is not a very hot topic among the devotees. You follow? So they are more concerned about Satyakama, Satya Sankalpa, right? They are more, I think these two words are always used among the devotees. Satyakama, among the Ramanujas mostly, I think. Satyakama and Satya Sankalpa. Yeah. So our duty is to do this devotional service to Krishna, and then everything is what? Automatically done. Right? You don't have to worry about anything else. Right? That's why Krishna, Prabhupada, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Shortcut. Correct? You understand? So our liberation, our point is that even we don't get liberated, we are not bothered. That is the prayer of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't want liberation. As long as I can be your servant. That's why there's another verse, no? The devotee, they don't care whether they go to heaven or they go to hell. What is that? Narayana paraha sarve kutasna vibhayate swarga. Huh? What number is that? 617. This is another point here that devotees, they are not bothered, This is spoken by Lord Shiva. Narayana paraha sarve na kutashtana bibhayate swarga aparvarga narakeshu api tulyartha darshanaha. This is the mood of the devotee. Devotees solely engage in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana. Never fear any condition in life. For them, the heavenly planet, liberation, and the hellish planet are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. That's why that is called Satya Sankalpa, no? That's now we use the word, no? They're not bothered by anything. They only want to serve that's all. They don't want heavenly, they don't want what? Here. This is the verse. Let me see. So here in this verse, the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead was sought even by greater demigods such as Brahma and Shiva, who have all accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their life and soul. A pure devotee of the Lord can never forget those lotus feet in any circumstance. He will not give up his shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord for a single moment, indeed, not even for half a moment, even in exchange for the benediction of ruling and enjoying the opulence of entire universe. Such a devotee of the Lord is to be considered the best of Vaishnavas. They don't want anything other than what? What is that? Service to the Lord. They don't. You give them the kingdom of Brahma, they don't have problem. That is called Satya Sankalpa. Sixth. So these are all points that today I can think of. Anybody else can think of something more? So our devotees, we have 8 symptoms of transformation. That is called, what is it called? Very good. Asta Sattvika Vikara. Now we are not considering this what? 8 symptoms of liberation as important. Our concentration is on trying to get this 8 transformation, trembling of what is it? Standing of the hair. Where is that verse? Just now it was there in the purport, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited it. Just now we saw. What is that? In that 14. Crying, standing of the hands, voice choking. Sisastaka. Hello? What number is now? You saw? 14 something, no? Chaitanya. Just now we showed. I didn't go there.
1499.
1499. Huh? What's that? So these are the symptoms of someone who has got all 8 kinds of transcendental transformation were visible in the Lord's body. All the devotees were struck with wonder to see such a sight. What is it? The 8 aesthetic symptoms are the stage of being stunned, perspiration, standing of the bodily hands on hand, faltering of the voice, trembling, fading of the body's color, tears, and devastation. So these are the 8 symptoms of devotee aesthetic position. So devotees are more concerned about these 8 aesthetic symptoms rather than the 8 liberations.
But Satyakam Sankalpa is
Yeah, the 3 things, that Sat Api Pahata, Satyakama, and Satya Sankalpa. These are symptoms of serving Krishna. But the real thing is to develop this ecstasy. You know what I mean? Crying. That's why in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sisastaka, what is the prayer? What is the prayer in Sisastaka? No prayer. What is the prayer? Come on. When will my hair stand? When will, what is that? What is that Sanskrit? Huh? What is Sanskrit? Hello? Repeat it every day and we forget what it is. Nayam, what is it? Nayam, when? Huh? When will my hair stand? When will my eyes with tears? So devotees are more interested in this. You follow? They're not so concerned about, more want to cry in love for the Lord. So that is what we want to be more attracted to. Right, so we have covered the whole thing just to line you up. I think we discussed about the importance of handing over responsibilities of the king. Next thing was why he should be, although he was the king, supreme personality of Godhead, he still made sure that he's guided by the Brahminical community. That we explained that. Then we explained uh, liberation. Yes. No, we explained how Maharaji went to the to get liberated. But of course, in Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the householder they just should stay, chant, and preach as the job of the house. Then we speak about symptoms of liberation. Yes. And now we spoke also spoke higher than that is what? Aesthetic symptoms. Yes. So any questions or comments? Yes.
In 4:22:35, we saw liberation is more important out of the liberation. Is dharma also not important?
No. Is dharma, artha, kama. From religious principle, you go to economic development. Unless you're religious, you cannot do this economic development. And when you go to economic development, then you want to enjoy it. Yeah, you build a house to what? Sleep outside. Yeah? You want to enjoy it. Yes. So when you enjoy, enjoyment, material enjoyment has got a what? It is not eternal, it is temporary. So you become frustrated. So then you look for liberation. That's how it works. So when you get liberated, it's not complete for us. For us, liberation means what? To become a devotee of Krishna. Then yes, everything fits in. So the whole thing is designed for ultimately renouncing this thing. That's why the words. What is that? Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayota Janasu. Huh? What? Vairagyam and Jnana. So Vairagyam cannot be complete without Jnana. You have to have the knowledge. Understand? Everything flows, It's not that something is just out of the blue or like that. No, it all fits in the. That's why liberation is very important. And liberation is only important, as we explained, if you become connected to. Otherwise, that liberation is what? Huh? Vimukta? Vimukta man. Just like many other, everybody practically, oh, I'm liberated, Prabhu, I'm liberated, I'm going back to God. That means is what? If he is not devotee, it is incomplete. You understand? So you see how everything is very nicely fits in. So you should know all this thing. Right? Any other questions? So you want to become liberated? No.
Big question.
He is a man. Today you liberated?
I want to understand, based on your activity,
Well, I cannot hear you.
based on your activity, like devotional service, you will reach to the liberation platform.
Based on the devotional service,
You will reach to the liberated platform.
you automatically included.
Then we said, Krishna is the one who gives the liberation. So how do I understand whether Krishna gave the liberation or is my devotional service made me ready for liberation?
It is like this, when you eat, you get what? Satisfaction, right?
Yes.
You get nourishment, right? And you get strength also, right? Just by eating, right? Same way, when you go to Krishna, liberation is already included.
You say byproduct.
But
Both. See, you can eat, but the nourishment is only there because the digestive system works and who is maintaining it? Krishna is maintaining it, right? So devotion service only works because Krishna says it works. Krishna has set up the system.
you cannot say you go to Krishna and not be liberated because it's included with it.
Yeah,
No, he's asking whether it is by my own devotional service that I am getting liberated or by whether it's by Krishna's mercy, I'm getting liberated.
If there's no Krishna's mercy, your devotional service is useless. Where was that verse? Huh? What is that? Shramam eva kevalam? What is that number? 1, 2? 1 to 8, huh?
So the thing that I'm trying to understand here is what comes first? Mercy comes first or your
Let's go one by one. Let's go one by one. First you see this, otherwise, what? The occupational activities a man perform according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke an attraction for the message of the personality of God. You understand? So to come to devotional service, you need Krishna's mercy, devotee's mercy. Understand? And you cannot get that mercy if you don't do, as I explained unless you have done a lot of piety, tapasya. You understand? That takes many, many births. That's why Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam. After many, many births, one who knows that I am all in all, such a person is great and excellent. It's not just by yesterday or today you become a devotee. It's not. It is many, many. Understand? And each time you're climbing, you're doing something until you meet the pure devotee. Then yes, complete. Without meeting a pure devotee, your devotional service cannot grow. You understand? This question was asked. I don't know, I should say it here. Which is better, the Vedic system or the non-Vedic religions? Which is better? I hope you understand. I don't want to mention the you understand. So, which is better? You understand what I'm saying?
You mean even demigod worship versus those religions?
Prabhupada said worship, yeah, because demigod worship is in our Vedic system. Just now you read the words, right? What's the words? According to Vedic, the Brahmanas were ruling according to the Vedic system. So if anything out of the Vedic system, although seemingly, but it's useless. Rather be a demigod worshipper here or Mayavad here than to be. So that is outside. It's called what? Malacha and Yavana Dharma. You got to speak up. I'm also fasting. My ears are deaf. Maybe you are fasting, that's why you cannot speak. Tell me, what is the question? Hello? What's your question? Just say loud. No, here, I'm here. I'm hearing.
I was going to say.
Hello? Prabhupada said it's better to be in the system than out of the system. You understand? So it's very important. Also, you see, they are out. But you have to understand that Vedic system is given to us by Krishna and includes people in the mode of ignorance, people in the mode of passion, people in the mode of goodness, people who are transcendental. So all different categories are included in the, understand? So some people are, in the mode of ignorance, worshipping demigods, this, that, goats also. Some higher, they worship the forefathers. Higher still, they worship, those powerful demigods. And of course, higher still are those who worship Krishna. Yeah? System. Right, so Clear? Anything else to add? Otherwise, we will wrap up. Sorry. That's why I wanted you to go and eat first, because then you'll break your fast at almost 10 o'clock. So thank you very much. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, Gantra, Srimad Bhagavatam ki. There's some questions here? No question.